Good morning and welcome to this specially scheduled WIOA webinar. My name is Jennifer Phillips with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University. I will be the moderator for today's webinar. And today's topic is an introduction to Illinois' IT training on Coursera, online learning options for individuals to gain in-demand skills while unemployed. Just as a reminder, all participants on the call are in listen-only mode. If you have questions as the webinar proceeds, please post your question in the question comment chat box, and we will address them towards the end of the webinar. Just a note that these boxes are synonymous, so depending on if you are on a tablet, phone, or computer, the box might be labeled differently. A reminder that this webinar will be recorded. The presentation, the recording, and any materials presented during today's meeting will be available on the icsps.illinoisstate.edu website and also on the Illinois Worknet website within 48 hours. Tomorrow, each attendee will receive a follow-up email which will include a survey asking you about today's webinar. Please provide feedback and any suggestions you have to help improve with upcoming webinars. And as a reminder, if you have an unstable internet connection or would prefer to call in, you can do that by opening the chat box, and you will find, or you can find the phone information in your initial registration email. And with that, I will get started with introducing today's presenters and today's agenda. So we are very fortunate today to have several speakers with us. The first speaker will be Lisa Jones, who's the manager of the Office of Employment and Training at the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And then we'll also get to hear from Michelle Cerruti, who's the president of the Illinois Workforce Partnership and a program director at Mantracon, one of the local workforce areas. Then we'll get to hear from Sam Combs, who is a senior manager of government partnerships at Coursera. And we'll get to hear from Jennifer Foster, who's a deputy executive director from Illinois, the Illinois Community College Board. Natasha Telgar, who's an integration and training coordinator at the Center for Workforce Development from SIU, will be walking us through the program. And Kirsten, if you could go to the next slide so we can see the agenda. And Jeff Kaplan is a customer success and public sector person from Coursera. If you could go 2 more slides ahead. Sorry, those are today's speakers. And then just to give a quick overview of today's agenda before I kick it off to Lisa and Michelle, we're going to do a welcome from both the state and local perspective. Sam is going to give an overview of Coursera and its focus on skills for high demand job roles. Natasha is going to walk us through a live demonstration of how to sign up for Coursera on Illinois Worknet. Jennifer Foster is going to talk about how to make connections to additional learning through the Illinois Community College Board. Jeff Kaplan from Coursera is going to talk a little bit about ensuring successful learner experiences and outreach materials available to local workforce areas. And then we should have some time for some polling questions and some discussion. With that, I'd love to have Lisa take it away, and if we could go to the next slide.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all. I really won't take too much time other than to say we welcome the opportunity to share this initiative that we're doing, partnering at the state level with Coursera, and hopefully finding it very useful for our citizens and residents of Illinois as they get back into the workforce. So as you can see on the slide, this started a little bit before May 14th, but on May 14th, Governor Pritzker announced Get Hired Illinois. And it's a statewide web portal that is designed to connect not just job seekers, but employers across the state with matching them to the jobs that are available, Also on that site, you can get connected to training opportunities, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Also during that announcement, the governor mentioned our Coursera Workforce Recovery Initiative that we launched on June 1st of this week. In addition to that, we have really been looking at using Coursera to focus on our in-demand occupation for the IT sector. And you'll see if you go to the next slide, excuse me, can you switch to the next slide, Kirsten? You can see where we are, IT is a key industry in Illinois, which is another reason why we focused on that particular sector. And I think it's also important to point out, as we all know, digital literacy, job training online, or remote learning are going to play a significant role in the recovery of the state. And so with that, we really wanted to focus on those sectors. So I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Cerruti to briefly say a couple of words as well. So Michelle?
Thank you, Lisa. I just wanted to thank everyone for joining and thank TCEO for inviting local workforce representatives and education partners from throughout the state to provide input and learn about this great opportunity. I truly believe this is a great benefit for all residents of Illinois. This is an opportunity for all partners in Illinois to market Coursera IT courses as a new beginning into a career pathway that has unlimited potential. I think there is a need for some type of IT training in every career. So I just encourage local workforce leaders throughout the state to partner with your community colleges to develop some training options for all of our dislocated workers. So I hope everyone enjoys this presentation today. Thank you.
Kirsten, I think the slides just disappeared. Yep, sorry about that. This is Jennifer, and I'm going to pass it over to welcome Sam Combs from Coursera to talk about the Workforce Recovery Initiative. And if you could go to the next slide, Kirsten.
Great, thanks, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. And to all the attendees, I'm really excited about the opportunity to be here and to speak with you. We've worked extensively with the DCEO, ICCB team that has put in a lot of great effort over the past few weeks to launch this program successfully on June 1st, aligned with Governor Pritzker's announcement. And we're really excited about the opportunity to work alongside the workforce development team across the state to make this resource available to unemployed and displaced workers who, in light of everything going on with COVID, we hope benefit from the resources that we're making it available. So in terms of my intention today is just to quickly provide an overview of who we are at Coursera. So we're all working from a same foundation about what this resource is, the benefits and the value it can provide, and what specifically this workforce recovery initiative is that we're launching across the state. Before going into the specifics of who we are at Coursera, what I wanted to do was cage the discussion by starting with why. Our mission at Coursera is to transform lives through equal opportunity and equal access to education. And if you can go to the next slide. We were part of the World Economic Forum recently that took place earlier this year. And one of the key takeaways from the World Economic Forum was highlighting and focusing on how more than 1 billion jobs globally are subject to being radically transformed over the coming decade due to rapidly emerging technology. And because of those technological changes, what we're going to see is that the majority of skills that are so prevalent in our workforce today and in the past will maybe become obsolete as we move towards the future. Next slide, please. You can build this slide out. And so what we see is that these low-skilled jobs, you can continue to click through, Kirsten, and this slide will actually build. What we see is that from a recent report that was released about a year ago by McKinsey, the consultancy firm, those jobs, the low-skilled jobs, the ones that maybe don't require a post-secondary degree and don't require skills in emerging technology areas, those you see in the bottom right-hand corner, those are the ones that are not only the lowest paying, but are the ones that are at the highest risk to be displaced by emerging technology trends that we're seeing dominate across different economies. Next slide. You can build this one out as well. And most recently, what we're seeing from a report that was released in April of this year by McKinsey was that the trends we're seeing with COVID and the disruption that we're seeing across our economy are only accelerating that trend of displacing lower skilled career paths because of rapidly changing technology requirements in the labor market and in the workforce broadly. Slide. Next slide, please. And so one of the questions is, what can we do? How can Coursera provide value? What are some of the demand signals that we're seeing across the workforce ecosystem? And one of the things that I think is important to highlight from a recent Strata report was that the majority of American workers that are looking at developing skills and becoming more competitive in the workforce are looking towards nano degrees and skill-based education, looking towards training programs that provide specific skills that will make them more competitive and more relevant in the job market. And they also prefer that that training be delivered online. Next slide. And so that's where we really see our value, and the value that we can bring to displaced workers today is an ability to provide world-class education at scale through the world's largest online learning platform at Coursera, and provide an opportunity for individuals to gain certifications and take courses to develop skills that will make them more competitive in the job market, not only of today, but of the future that's going to be dominated by these emerging technology trends. In terms of who we are at Coursera, we have more than 60 million learners globally on the online learning platform today. More than 560,000 of those individuals are located in the state of Illinois. What makes Coursera unique is how our content is developed. We have more than 3,800 unique courses on Coursera, but importantly, none of those courses are actually developed by Coursera. Instead, those courses are developed by leading university partners, places like University of Illinois, University of Chicago, Northwestern, as well as our industry partners, leading industry and companies like Google, Amazon Web Services, and IBM. So when an individual comes to Coursera and takes a course, not only are they learning high demand skills from subject matter experts from the leading institutions, they're walking away with a certification from a brand that is highly recognized across industry. They're walking away with a certification from Google or a certification from Illinois. And finally, what I'll say is we also have deep experience working with more than 2,300 businesses, government agencies, and even college campuses worldwide. An enormous majority of major companies globally trust Coursera already to train their employees and recognize the value of the training that Coursera can provide in developing high demand skills. Next slide. So when we look at our course catalog, when we look at the variety of courses we have available, as I mentioned, it's more than 3,800 courses from leading universities as well as leading companies. Importantly, it's not just taking the training. The organizations that develop the content also build in assessments across our platform. There's more than 370,000 assessments that make up all of our courses. So when an individual gains that certification, not only have they taken the content, but they've successfully passed the assessments, so that certification really means something. It really validates that they have those skills that are most necessary to exceed in the workplace. We have a breadth of content, but what the state has done through this partnership is really focused in on what our specialty is at Coursera, and that's developing skills for the IT sector, for those high demand roles, focused on emerging technology trends that we're seeing. Next slide. So I know across the workforce development sphere, the key piece with training is career transformation, is career outcomes. To ensure that when you're putting an individual through courses, when you're putting an individual through training, the outcome on the other side is career impact. So they're finding economic opportunity through the training that was made available. At a macro level, at a broad level, from surveys conducted across the 60 million learners on our platform, these are some of the statistics that we see about individuals testifying the outcome that they found in their own career as they took courses through Coursera. Things like being equipped or better equipped for a job, improving their candidacy for a job, and opening up interview opportunities that maybe didn't exist, identifying opportunities for promotion, and even seeing a pay raise. These are all things that we can see consistently across the board as individuals engage in the content, engage in the platform, and earn the certifications that are necessary for their own specific career goals. Next slide. I also wanted to provide a very specific example. This is an example of what's called the Google IT Support Professional Certification. It's one of the most popular certifications on our platform. And I wanted to highlight it because so often when individuals look at Coursera and see the universities that we're partnered with and the companies we're partnered with, people I think immediately say, well, that's an opportunity or that's a resource that's really geared towards individuals that maybe already have post-secondary education. While we have a lot of content focused on advanced skills, an enormous part of Coursera's focus is entry-level content to give individuals skills to find entry-level pathways into in-demand job roles. And that's exactly what the Google IT Support certification does. This certification is made up of 5 courses, all produced by Google. It's aimed at an audience that has no technical background and only has a high school diploma. When they graduate from this professional certification, they complete all 5 courses and pass the assessments and gain that professional cert. 2 great things open up for them. First, there's a hiring consortium on the other side of more than 50 hiring partners, some of which are called out here, that have raised their hand and said, we want skills that are developed from this coursework. There's also degree pathways, universities that have raised their hand and said, we recognize those courses for academic credit at our university. So students can now build into a broader academic degree opportunity that maybe would not have been present prior to them going through the Google IT Support program. Next slide. So quickly, what is the Workforce Recovery Initiative? We launched this in late April. What we are doing is we're providing free access to government agencies to our Coursera for Government platform, which Natasha will be able to show you, and then Jeff will be able to discuss in a little bit more depth. We've seen enormous uptake globally. We're working, in addition to Illinois, working across more than 30 states right now, and we're seeing a lot of excitement around this program, and it's going to be able to allow governments to provide displaced workers who need these resources free access to the Coursera platform for the remainder of the calendar year. Next slide. And this is just a snapshot as well. The key takeaway is just these partnerships with government agencies like DCEO to enable the opportunity for individuals to gain access to this Coursera platform so they can gain those skills in high demand for high demand IT roles. And so in the final few minutes of my time here, if you go to the next slide, what I wanted to do was just show a short video. This is a quick overview of a woman that was able to change her career opportunity through the Google IT Support certification, because it's easy to, I think, focus on large numbers and all of the scale and the enormous number of individuals that are unemployed across the world and across the state in Illinois. But at the end of the day, what we're also focused on, and really what we wake up to do every day, is to have personal impact in individual lives. And I think this video is really able to showcase the opportunity that the Coursera platform can open up. And if we're having technical challenges with the audio here, what I'll be able to do is I'll be sure to send this video out, and that way we can you have an opportunity in your own time to watch through it as well.
Sam, this is Jennifer. Thanks, and I'm gonna push the YouTube link out through the chat right now.
Perfect.
Unless, Kirsten, is there any way to get the sound? No, okay, I'll push it through the chat right now, and then why don't we?
I'm not 100% sure. I can exit out of these slides and go to YouTube itself if you want to take the time to watch it.
Why don't we pass the controls to Natasha to start showing our audience how to find Coursera, where to sign up on Illinois Worknet, and then if you boot it up, maybe we can do it after before we pass the controls to Jeff.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay, just verify for me, Jennifer, you can see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Natasha.
Okay. Great, thanks. Okay, I just wanted to show you there are a couple of ways where you can access this opportunity, and one of them is through Get Hired Illinois. If you go to online training opportunities, it will take you to the Coursera page that we have where you can access the request an invitation to have access to the online courses that are available. The other way is to go to Illinois Worknet, and on the homepage of Illinois Worknet, we have an area that says Find Training. So the Find Training link takes you to the Quick Start Guide. So we have our free Coursera courses, but I also wanted to point out to you before we move on to the next page that we have other training courses as well, so with community colleges, the Tech Ready, we have WIOA approved training programs, apprenticeships, and more resources. So there's quite a bit of information that you can find about the training just from the Training Quick Start Guide. So the free Coursera courses that are available, so we can go ahead and select this link. And what this page does, we have a video, tells you a little bit, gives you some success stories for Coursera. But then also, a couple things that's really important to point out is that for Illinois residents, you can access your free courses through the Illinois Worknet page, on this page that we're looking at right now. One of the big things that you need to know is that you need to register for the courses by September 30th. And then you'll need to complete the courses by December 31st. So to save time for today, I'm already logged in. So I'll just show you that you can either log in and access your free courses, or if you don't have an Illinois Worknet account, you can select the second button, which will walk you through, streamline you through the process of setting up an account and automatically giving you the access to your free courses. So when I say automatically, it's a little bit, let me just show you the page. So whenever you are accessing your free courses, what it does is it actually sends an invite for the email that's associated with your Illinois Worknet account. So you don't have to do anything special as far as you don't have to do anything really special. Once you click that access your free courses, we have your email address. And based on this email address, you're going to receive an invite from Coursera, okay? And if this is not the correct email address, then what you need to do is go ahead and update your email address within Illinois Worknet, and go back to this page and hit the button again, and that will let us know that whatever the corrected email address is, that's who will receive the invitation to join Coursera. So let me go. I just want to show you quickly what the invite looks like. So within 2 business days, you will receive an invite from Coursera, and this is what it looks like. Illinois IT Online Training has invited you to start learning on Coursera, and just going to say your name, and then you're going to hit Join Now, okay? So the invite will be coming from Coursera, and as long as you hit Join Now, then what you're going to do is you will go to the Coursera Illinois IT Training on Coursera page. And whenever you go there, you can look at the different resources that are available. So we have this Digital Literacy for All, Professional Certificate, Google IT, which what Sam was talking about. We have a variety of professional certificates. Again, these are all within the IT field. As you scroll down, you'll see there's quite a few different areas. We have the Tech Ready, and then we have In-Demand roles. So there's like I said, there's quite a few courses here. Whenever you go into one of these courses, let's just go into one of these. Let's click one. you can look at the page. You can see that you can enroll for free. So if you click enroll, then you're automatically enrolled in that class. But before you do that, we would encourage you to learn a little bit more about the class. That gives you some really nice high-level information about, online, intermediate level, how long it's going to take to complete it. And then you can also see like a breakdown of the different modules. So it's really important to take a look at those courses before you enroll. And that's the overview.
Asha, thank you. Could you do me a favor and go back to the Worknet page that shows the connections to the Illinois Community College Board? And then I'd like to welcome Jennifer Foster, who's the Executive Deputy Director of ICCB, to make a few comments about online learning and ways to continue beyond Coursera. Good morning, Jennifer. Let's see. Is she, Jen? Let's see. She's still, Jennifer, you're muted. Can you hear us now? Nope. Okay.
Would you like me to go? Oh, is that Shannon?
Yes, there she is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Morning,
Yeah.
Jennifer. Welcome.
Good morning. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. And I'm pleased to be here with you and pleased to be a part of this important project. And as you see on this page, there are numerous activities or things that the community college has to offer here. There's that view and access button that takes you to different resources, our program offerings within the community college system. The Illinois Community College Board is pleased to be working with DCEO and Coursera and the local workforce areas. Our 48 community colleges offer many programs at an affordable cost to individuals within the 39 districts throughout the state. We work very closely with a lot of different education and workforce partners. The ICCB has, and as you can see here from the screen here, identified some programs in our online IT programs that will be offered during the summer, as well as many other courses that can be accessed through this page in terms of programs that are delivered at each of the community colleges. Community colleges are connected to our communities throughout the state, and they make sure that they're honing in on what the community needs are, as well as the businesses and employers. Our community colleges offer student support, financial aid, remedial support, adult education and literacy services, as well as other workforce and other essential and employability skills. The community colleges have been partnering with a lot of the local workforce areas for many years and we're excited about the opportunity to continue this partnership in the future and to connect Coursera completers to local community colleges in the areas where the students reside. We are excited about the work that this presents, working with DCO, your areas, as well as Coursera, to ensure a seamless approach to the delivery of education and workforce and employment services throughout the state. We will continue to work closely with this partnership to make certain that once the completion of the courses the individuals complete the courses through Coursera, then we want to be there to make sure that there is a seamless transition and a continuation of education for the students or the clients through their local community colleges. So we're very excited about continuing to build those skills. As you can see there on the screen, all of the different connects you to our Illinois College to Career, our post-secondary profile, as well as, again, the IT courses that will be offered during the summer of 2020. So thank you so much for the opportunity to just talk a little bit about community colleges and how we see that definite connection with Coursera, and we appreciate the partnership.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for being with us and for that. Kirsten, is it possible to tee up the video at this point?
Yes, hold on, just give me 1 second. Are we able to hear the noise?
We are.
I was first licensed in cosmetology at the age of 17. I'm a child of the 80s where hair was kind of wild, so that was just exciting to me. I'm running my own salon and teaching cosmetology at Madison Adult Career Center. Okay, what are you gonna do? Some years back, we had an auto plant close. We had a lot of clients that were transferred out of town. We also had clients that stayed in the area but couldn't afford to get beauty services done. We did lose business. So I thought it's time to shift my gears and do something else. I've always loved computers. So a lot of my colleagues would come to me when they had a question about IT. My school partners with our local community college, and my assistant director informed me that they had a grant for the Google IT certificate program, and she thought that I would be interested. Everything I learned was new, everything. I was just taking my first bite of the sandwich every time. I learned about security, about infrastructure, how to count in binary, didn't know that, how to take care of one computer, and then how to take care of a fleet of computers. I didn't feel like, man, this is for people who already know something. It took me step by step.
Finding your cause is a critical concept in IT support.
Wherever I had my phone, my laptop, I could squeeze in a few minutes of studying. I'd be up in bed with my computer. My husband's like, is it that grueling? I'm like, no, I'm interested. It was like a good book. I wanted to kind of see how that portion was going to end. I completed the Google IT certificate program in 5 months. Pat myself on the back for that. I got to about the 3rd course and I'm like, you know, I probably could do this for a living. I started to search jobs and earning potential. I had no idea how many jobs there were in IT, and they pay very well. For years, I've had multiple jobs. So it will be nice to streamline things and have more time for my family. The world changes, things change. I was cleaning up the other day and I was throwing away old disks from our first computer. You know, those little floppy disks, nobody uses that anymore. But I thought floppy disks were cool back then. So if I weren't a lifelong learner, I'd still be stuck like that floppy disk. I believe it's never too late to go in a new direction. And I think IT is my thing. I think that's going to be my thing.
Thanks, Kirsten. And I'd like to welcome Jeff Kaplan, who is with Coursera's Public Sector Customer Success. Hi, Jeff. Welcome.
As a little kid that I went into work. The first time that I opened up a computer, that was.
All right, Jeff, are you there?
Hey, can everybody hear me?
We can now, yes.
Yep, thank you very much. If someone, first of all, what's that?
Kirsten, if you could go forward to slide 24, which is Jeff's set of slides.
You can keep going two more, Kirsten.
Yep.
There we go. Hi, everyone. Appreciate taking the time. Actually, following that video, that story is a hard act to follow, in fact, because it really sort of shows what this is really all about for us, and I think everybody here. I'm Jeff Kaplan. I'm part of our Coursera for Government team. I just want to take a few minutes and kind of just share some some suggestions and ideas about sort of being successful and sort of having a learning program reach the people you're trying to reach and create opportunities, as we've just seen, for people to sort of either start a new career path or gain skills that are going to really create new opportunities for them. If we could go to the next slide. What I want to do is just sort of kind of walk through how we kind of think about having a successful learning program. And by the way, there's going to be a lot here. I'm going to touch on a lot of things relatively quickly, but don't feel like you need to read everything, because we're going to share all of this with you so that you can sort of take your time and go through some of the things that we think about. But just to kind of walk you through it quickly, you know, successful learning programs, you know, we see them as steps. Not surprisingly, you know, the first three are kind of, you know, the sort of getting to the starting gate, being clear about program goals, which I think as everybody's talked about, have already been sort of defined. But the next two things are really important, which is sort of, you know, creating awareness and getting this in front of as many people as possible, sort of new learners, right? And then getting them onboarded in a way that, or, you know, start learning so that, you know, they're actually able to sort of take advantage and sort of driving that sort of easy access. And then the second two, and these are the other two I'll touch on quickly, are, you know, basically engaging and keeping people motivated and keeping them going, and, you know, treating sort of the awareness raising and enlistment of new people as an ongoing activity. And as part of that, sort of celebrating success, and not just because it's important to recognize when people have, you know, really achieved something and had an impact on their lives, but also it helps sort of draw in new people as well. So they tell you stories. We can go to the next slide. All right, in terms of like driving enrollments, getting people aware and getting people to come and start learning. If we can go to the next slide. I'm just gonna share, you know, a number of sort of different ways that we've seen this be successfully done. And if we can go to the next slide, the idea is to sort of think about working on multiple channels. Whoop. Go ahead, one more. Okay, so part of that is sort of, you know, reaching enough people, getting enough invitations set. You've seen the workflow for this, but sort of building that awareness. You know, one thing to say is, you know, one thing we know is that whatever your sort of ambition or target is for people you'd like to sort of take advantage of this and start learning, you probably need to think of getting to or reaching, you know, 50% more than that sort of target number, or even 2 times that target number. So, you know, because not everybody will join and everybody has, you know, things that are sort of drawing their attention. So you kind of have to think, you know, twice as big as the number you'd really like to sort of reach in real life, which means getting enough invitations and doing a lot of this sort of engagement and awareness building, particularly in, you know, the first 90 days where there's a lot of momentum that you can take advantage of. If we can go to the next slide. So what are the kinds of things, you know, that can be done? And again, don't feel like you need to read through these. We're going to share this with everybody. But, you know, some of the things are, you know, we might say marketing campaigns, different sort of ways through different channels to get the word out, either by you or your partners that you work with, other stakeholders that are sort of in your, let's say, ecosystem, having it be a group effort to sort of, you know, create awareness. If there's already online communities that, you know, you have, or you're a part of, or you participate in, or your stakeholders are participating in, getting the word out through that sort of channel. Leveraging stakeholders that you already work with in a variety of different ways is super important. You want to amplify your own voice. And, you know, when you're doing that, you obviously want people to understand right up front, without too much reading through anything, like, this is the goals, this is the benefits for you as a learner, and sort of, and keep this idea of partnerships to get the word out and build awareness. It's a super important way. And again, a lot of this you all know, but just to sort of capture it together. If we could go to the next slide. You know, that could be targeted email campaigns. Next slide, please. Again, I'm not going to read through this. You'll have all this to look through. It could be like we're doing now, but it could be targeted kinds of webinars. It could be sort of enrollment information sessions, recommending a friend. I mean, promoting when you can see, as people start to learn, if you can see there's particular subjects or courses or certificates that are popular, you can use that to sort of get a new message out. or a blog post or something, a way to communicate what you're seeing as being beneficial to people based on what they're doing. It's important to keep your eye on this as you're going along. Next slide. Obviously, and again, this is not rocket science, but just to remind everybody, leveraging social media in lots of different ways, whether it's professional social media like LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, which also has online communities that people are part of through it. That's the way to think about this. Next slide. The other thing is in leveraging social media, occasionally it's really powerful to sort of get higher level voices to chime in through social media. Now, whether that could be the head of your organization, whether that's someone from the state of Illinois coming back in occasionally to sort of amplify the social media messaging. But it's important to think about not just sort of using social media, but having different voices, different folks use it so that you're kind of working at different levels, if that makes sense. Next slide. I mentioned these, creating sort of enrollment information sessions. That could be with people who've signed up, or just inviting people to hear a little bit more before they sign up. I mean, there's a way to sort of run these things as little mini events, again, to sort of generate interest and awareness. Next slide. As I mentioned before, thinking about sort of the online communities that you participate in, and even creating an online community. It could be a Facebook group, it could be other sort of uses of social media platforms where you can actually sort of build a community so that you get learners connected to each other. That can often be a very powerful driver for people to keep going or find the next thing they want to do after they've completed one certificate, for example. Next slide. And again, this is just a point to as a reminder for all of us. It's really important to kind of treat this as an ongoing effort. So you can think of it as sort of doing this in waves or doing this in cycles, but the idea is follow up frequently on what you've done before, right? So social media posting, or if it's a blog post, or if it's collecting a learner story, you don't just do it once. You want to sort of have follow-ups to these things so that it creates a cycle, and that so awareness building is not a one-time sort of big bang thing at the launch, but it's actually just an ongoing set of things that you do, on a regular schedule. And you should really schedule it out if you can. Just set yourself some milestones in terms of, the kinds of things you're going to do. I'm going to do one enrollment session here. I'm going to do a set of social media postings this week. The next week, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It's important to kind of follow up and create a regular sort of cadence for yourself. It doesn't have to be a ton of hours in it, but just have yourself be doing things sort of on a regular basis. Next slide. You will have access to what we call Learner Awareness Kit. This sort of puts some content in your hands that helps you with messaging and sort of, if you do presentations or social media posting, we're trying to sort of give you a little bit of a kit that will just make things easier so you don't have to sort of reinvent the wheel as you go, and that should be available shortly to you. But just as a reminder, there are going to be resources that will be in your hands to help you out. Next slide. Okay, the last thing, as I mentioned, I touched on it briefly as I was talking before, but it's really important and incredibly powerful, as we just saw with that video, to sort of celebrate success. You don't need 1,000 stories to do this, but having a couple or 3 stories of people who've come, who've learned, and are willing to sort of share the impact they've had, whether it's just their experience taking online learning and getting a certificate. Maybe it's a story about it put them in a position to get a job interview, or even better, of course, a new job. Or maybe they felt at risk in their current job, and it helped them really be better positioned to sort of have a path with their career where they are now. Collecting these stories, if we can go to the next slide, is super powerful because, one, they're real, and it tells other people this can really make a difference for you. And so, as I said, collecting when people complete to see if they're willing to share their story. That could be, it doesn't have to be a video clip, it could be a quote, It could be, you know, they'll give you a little bit of some information that you can turn into a blog post. But the idea of creating and publishing these learner stories, and again, you don't need a lot of them, just a couple will even have a tremendous impact, and then promoting them through all these communication channels, whether it's social media or other places. The other thing, you know, if it's relevant is, you know, if there's a really good story, to actually have, you know, someone, you know, in a sort of more public position, put a spotlight on it. You know, whether it's a mayor, whether it's the governor, whether it's the head of a workforce agency, you know, these are stories that are really powerful, obviously, and, you know, often, you know, people who are in the spotlight already love to be able to sort of highlight them. And so you create the opportunity for others to sort of spotlight the stories, not just yourself, is the point here. If we could go to the next slide. Okay, as I said, celebrate success, social media, obviously a really powerful set of channels for that. Next slide. I think we're coming to the end. I don't need to go through this. Yeah, one more slide. Again, this will be for everybody.
So Jeff, yep. This is Jennifer. We've got lots of really amazing questions coming in.
Okay, so let's put a halt to it.
Yep.
I think the questions are the next slide anyway. So we're at Q&A. There we go.
Yes. So let's. I'm going to read some of these questions, and then I think Sam and Jeff, many of them are for you, but I think Lisa Jones and I might be able to answer some too. So just right off the bat, we will absolutely make these slides available and send in that follow-up email that'll have a survey. So one question is, are the free courses available through Coursera just on IT? And I think the answer to that is that users could take any of the 3,800 courses that Sam mentioned, but Illinois has organized its course catalog to emphasize those in-demand skills. And I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in. One of the things that I liked that I learned through this experience about organizing the catalogs was trying to suppress or limit the navigation fatigue for somebody, so sort of pointing people in the right directions towards some of those pathways. Lisa or Sam, did you want to chime in on that answer?
No, that's perfect. And I think, yeah, so it's through this recovery initiative, the catalog is truly open and available. The Illinois priorities were to really focus in and hone in on the IT specifics. And so the focus is to push people towards IT pathways. The catalog is available, though, if people would like to explore other places.
And this is Jeff. Yeah, one other important point to mention, I think, which is, you know, there's not a limitation on, you know, how many courses and how many credentials people can earn, right? So they have access through the end of the year. They get signed up before September, end of September. So, you know, they can, as much as they want to invest, they have the ability to do that.
So the second question is, sorry, Lisa.
No, go ahead. Second question. No, go ahead. That's okay. Go to second question.
Second question, and is what is the difference between signing in with Illinois Worknet and going directly to the Coursera website? So just to be clear on this, that a Coursera, in order to get access a Coursera account, you must have an Illinois Worknet account. So it's a kind of a two-step process. And Natasha, did you want to chime in at all on answering that question, or is that?
Sure. Yep, you go through the Coursera page through Illinois Worknet, and what that process does, it otherwise, if you don't go through this process, you would have to go through the standard signing up and paying for the courses through Coursera. But if you'd like to access them for free through the end of the year, then you need to go to Illinois Worknet, and you just simply click on the button, and if you're not already logged in, it'll prompt you to log in, and then it just flags you as wanting to have access to those free courses, and then we let Coursera know, and they send out an invitation.
Perfect. Thank you. Another question is, some of the people I work with are unemployed but are not receiving unemployment benefits. Are they eligible and how do they access it? And I'm assuming you're asking about accessing Coursera. One important thing that I'm trying to remember if we mentioned in the beginning is that if you are applying for unemployment insurance or already are receiving unemployment insurance, your status is unaffected by taking any course or completing any course on Coursera. Lisa, is there anything else that you want to say on that one?
Sorry, I keep taking myself on and off mute. No, that's absolutely right. It does not affect at all your unemployment benefits or you applying for unemployment benefits.
And
by
there was
taking
another
courses.
Oh.
Yep, there was another similar question about whether or not you have to be unemployed to have an account. And I believe the answer to that is technically no, there is not a filter at the moment checking for that, but you must have an Illinois zip code.
Yeah, and just to circle back.
This program really is for those that are unemployed, but that is correct. There is no filter right now. And I'm sorry, Sam, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine, Lisa. So, and from the Coursera perspective, and especially the local agencies who are working with folks day in and day out and are having these personal interactions, if you have a person that is a displaced worker, that you know they're coming to you, they're out of work, they're looking for an opportunity to gain skills, but maybe they're not claiming UI. From the Coursera perspective, that's okay. Like, we want them to have access to the resource to develop the skills they need to get back to work, even if they're not formally claiming UI benefits. From our perspective, there's still very much someone that we would want to be able to serve in this time.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. There are a couple of questions about kind of the assessment process. Is there a minimum age to register for a free Coursera course?
No, there is not. There's no minimum age. I will say the bulk of our material is really aimed at I hesitate to say adult audience because I know that might have very specific meaning in this context, but a 18-year plus, not because there is anything kind of to worry about in terms of what the content is, like it's in terms of like the specific content. It's just the level that the content is produced is aimed at more of a high school and above audience, but there's no age limitation.
Thank you. And are customers allowed to retake a course if they fail?
Yes.
Okay, that's easy one. And then there's a question about, is there a course listing available before you register to participate? Kirsten, I don't know if it's possible, well, it's probably not possible to put Natasha her screen back on, but Natasha did walk us through what was the curated Illinois course catalog. So once you have signed on to Coursera, you'll be able to see those curations and kind of scroll through and look at the sequence of those classes that is part of the Illinois IT Coursera website.
Yeah, and hey, this is Lisa. I just want to mention, just to be clear that Illinois' focus really is on IT sector. And as you saw on Natasha's screen, that's the catalog that we curated. So as you're working or directing customers or other folks that you're helping to the site, please keep that in mind that we are focusing on the IT sector. The other thing that just, and it might be a question later on, but a mention that for those of you on the call that are career planners, for WIOA, they do not have to be Title I eligible to receive these services. So they can receive the Coursera courses, excuse me, they can receive the Coursera services because they are self-service at this time. Now, if they want to continue on or they want additional services beyond just accessing the Coursera the Coursera course catalog, that's kind of a tongue twister. The Coursera course catalog, then of course you would have to determine them for eligibility, like if they wanted support services or some other service of that nature.
Thank you, Lisa. Another question is a high school diploma or a GED required to take a Coursera course?
No.
Thank you. And one of the things that Natasha showed on her screen when she clicked into one of the Google courses was Coursera has on for each course, whether it's a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced course. And you can kind of see some of that information when you're looking at, checking out some of the courses. This is a good question. Lisa, will there be a service on IWDS to enroll for this training, and will free training result in some countable credential for WIOA performance?
Right now we have not put a specific service on IWDS. That's an excellent question. We can certainly work with our performance and reporting team on that. It would count as a countable credential. We are also working on putting the Coursera catalog, the IT Coursera courses, on the eligible training provider list as well. So certainly I think by doing that, then it would definitely be part of a reportable certificate, as long as it is based on the current policy and procedures just at the state level as well as at the federal level. Because, for example, I think there's some basic, not on our sector, not on our particular course catalog, but I do know when I was doing some research just in what courses are available, there was one that was like a basic like first aid or something like that. Now, because that's not countable for us, it wouldn't be countable through Coursera either. So not the best example, but just wanting to point out that for the most part, the answer is yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa. Someone's asking, can you view the courses without signing up, before signing up for Coursera? And the answer to that is yes, you can. You can view the courses on Coursera.org, but you will not be able to see the Illinois course catalog, that curation, without signing up. I think that's Jeff and Sam. Is that technically correct?
Yes, I mean we recognize that the focus is helping people have a pathway to IT skills, and that's what the curation is. But at Coursera.org, which is a public website, you can actually get to the content of any course that's listed in the catalog. For example, just to sort of see what it's like, and then come in and enroll through this so you can get free access. But yes, the answer is yes. You can sort of test drive or taste test anything that's on the platform.
Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of questions about the certification process. There's some questions about what's the assessment process, is the certificate free, not just the classes, and sort of what is there an exam requirement to receive the certificate? So if we could kind of—
It's a good question. Yep, it's a good question, and it's important because obviously the credential, the certificate is, one of the really job valuable things that this program is going to enable people to access and get a chance to get. So first of all, through this program with the state, part of the whole idea is that not only can someone take as many of these courses or certificate programs as they wish, that if they succeed in passing the evaluations that are included in each, they get the credential without any extra cost. So that's part of what this program is about, is not only do you get access to the learning, but in fact, if you successfully pass the course or the project, you get the credential without paying anything. So that's that part. In terms of what the evaluations look like, I mean, part of the reason why these credentials are valuable in the market for people who are looking for jobs or in a job to show that they've got skills is it's not just, I think Sam mentioned this, it's not just there's learning content, there's videos and things to read that are part of the learning, but they're built-in evaluations. They look different for different courses, but it could be multiple choice questions or something you have to answer. There's there are evaluation or assessment kind of exercises built into all these courses, and there's a pass rate of percentage correct of answered questions that is set for within the course. As you go, you can see this, you can see it as you go along. If you don't succeed in passing a particular assessment, you have a chance to retake it. So it's not a sort of use it or you're out kind of situation. The idea is to make sure that people are being evaluated so that everybody knows that they're actually mastering the learning they're trying to get to. But giving people the opportunity to sort of do it again if they don't get it the first time. We realize that learning works that way. So that's sort of how it's set up.
Thanks, Jeff. This is Jennifer. So we are a little bit over time. I just want to reiterate that the slides are going to be available. We have multiple questions that we haven't gotten to, and we will do an FAQ and answer them and send them through that email, that follow-up email. The recording will be on the ICSPS site and on the Illinois Worknet site. We did also have a couple poll questions that we did not have time to do, and we'll build those into the survey that we follow up with. So with that, I would just like to thank Jeff Kaplan, Sam Combs, Jennifer Foster, Michelle Cerruti, and Lisa Jones for today's presentation, and a special thanks to Kirsten Sheary on the Center's Tech team who helped me lead this webinar today. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.